We are Southeastern 16. We got you covered on SEC football. That's Chris Lee. I'm Chase Robinson, and we're going to talk three biggest questions for the Missouri Tigers as they head into week one and their game against the Murray State Racers. That'll be Thursday night, August the 29th. That'll be a 6:30 kick on the SEC network. And right now, Missouri big favorites, according to some of the services, around 47.5-point favorite against the Racers of Murray State. So we'll dive into the Tigers here in just a second, but let's talk about BetOnline, the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from UFC to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, you can go to the online casino, get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or one of the over 150 slots games. Head over to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE, B-L-E-A-V, for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. BetOnline, the game starts here. All right, Chris, where do you want to start in your three biggest questions for the Missouri Tigers against Murray State? What's one big question for you?
Well, let's get this out of the way. I think you said it's a 47-point line.
Yeah.
Jeff Sagarin, I think, has got it at 51. So if you are looking to this game for sweeping takeaways, I think you might check some assumptions there. But they're playing a football game, so there's always something to look for or notice for. And I think what I'm looking for is Missouri lost the best running back in the league a year ago in Cody Schrader. And it replaced him with two guys that I think a lot of schools wanted in the portal. And so I'm interested to see Marcus Carroll last year, 1,350 yards rushing at Georgia State, added another 234 receiving, and Nate Noel from Appalachian State. They both averaged right around 4.8, 4.9 per carry. Noel didn't catch quite as many balls, or at least didn't do as much with them as when he caught them. But he had 834 yards rushing last year at Appalachian State. Now, look, I don't think either of these guys is going to get 20 touches. Probably don't want to do that. Might not want to get either of them 10, but I'd at least like to see how it looks when they get the ball in a Missouri uniform. Missouri should, I'm sure, open plenty of running lanes for these guys. Again, I don't think it's a litmus test on their performance going forward unless it's bad, but you just want to see how it looks because that's a big change to this offense this year.
Yeah, it is. They're going to be huge pieces to what they do offensively. So, yeah, this is a game where they can kind of solidify themselves for the Missouri Tigers as a Missouri running back. See, I think that's a big question this year for Missouri. I'm going to go on the defensive side of things. A lot of new on this defense, Chris. I mean, first of all, you got a new defensive coordinator, Corey Batoon from South Alabama, Blake Baker, who was at Missouri last year, now the defensive coordinator at LSU. And so there's not only a new coordinator, but lots of new players on the field. And I start up front with the defensive front, and they got Zion Young they've added as a defensive end, transfer from Michigan State. They've got defensive tackle Chris McClellan from Florida, Sterling Webb from New Mexico State. So they've got a number of new guys along the front, and then several other transfers as well on the defense. So there's a lot of new. And so big question, can you use this game to get in sync? Work on your play calling in a game-like situation with a lot of new. Again, a new coordinator, maybe some new schematics, and a lot of new players on the field. I mean, again, this is a game you're favored big. You may not see a lot of balls flying in the air coming your way, but you could definitely use a game like this to get in sync on defense with all the new.
Yeah, shameless promo for our weekly SEC football show. If you're an SEC fan and not listening to that, I hope you start. We spent a lot of time talking about Missouri's defense in that, and particularly the defensive backfield as we dove into breakout players. But yeah, you've got some questions there. You mentioned the new defensive lineman. I mean, Missouri lost a first rounder here, although it's got maybe another one in Christian Williams. I don't think, again, it's not a litmus test. Now if Murray State's putting up 30 points, maybe we start to question some things, but should be some easy boxes to check. And it just, to me, it's the same thing with running backs. Just want to see what it looks like.
Yeah. And that's really the biggest thing to see what this defense looks like in a new era of Missouri defense under Corey Batoon, who has come to Columbia, Missouri from Mobile, Alabama, where he served at South Alabama under Kane Womack, a great defensive coach as well. So that should be interesting. What would be your the third biggest question, Chris?
Well, it's interesting. If you've watched Eli Drinkwitz speak of late, he's talked about let's get fans in the stands. He said we came off a Cotton Bowl a year ago, and he wants the stands full at Farout Field. Now, look, I think that 61,000, that's probably the smallest capacity other than Vanderbilt. I think Mississippi State might be close, or Ole Miss potentially, but not one of the bigger stadiums to fill. But here's the other dynamic to that, Chase. Not only at Murray State, it's a Thursday night game. So I don't know what the challenge, that may be a lot to bite off for a fan base in a game where it's a 50-point favorite. But this fan base is super excited. And as Eli Drinkwitz points out, they got a lot to be excited about. So I am a little curious as to what the stands look like.
That's a great point, and there is a lot to be excited about. I feel like if you're Missouri, especially coming off last year where it was kind of unknown going into the season, then you do what you were able to do. Like, I feel like that's a good reason for fans to be in the stands. It's your first game of the year. It's a Thursday night. We'll see if the weather's, I don't know what the weather's going to be in Columbia, Missouri, but maybe it'll be a nice night. And they can enjoy the night there in a late August Thursday night. But yeah, I would love to see the stands full there in Columbia, just based off the success. I mean, and that's going to help the team. I mean, when they know that the community, the school, the Missouri fans are behind them, I mean, that's going to do wonders for this football program as well.
Yeah. Now, here's another interesting dynamic to that, Chase. What wins out? Excitement or boredom? Because those first four games, oh boy.
Yeah.
Murray State, Buffalo, Boston College, Vandy, all at home. I think Missouri will be a 20-plus point favorite in each of those games, according to the things that I'm looking at. And then guess what you got in week 5, Chase? You got a bye. And then what do you got in week 6? A road trip to A&M. Week 7, a road trip to UMass. Don't know how that happened. You don't get to see your team in a game that anybody even remotely expects to be competitive at home until you face Auburn on October the 19th on what's an early kickoff. And then that's next tough. One you get is Oklahoma. So the way the schedule sets up, it's very interesting. There's really, in Arkansas to end the season, but who knows what that's going to look like. Your opportunities to see your team at home in situations where the game has a shot to be interesting well into the second half are limited. So what does that do? Do you just say, hey, we don't have many chances. I'm going to go and see. I don't care playing Chase and Chris. What does it look like?
That's a very interesting observation, Chris, because I think boredom can take over some of these situations, and the fact that it will most likely be blowouts, maybe not. Well, we don't know in the first 4 games, and then you have a little break before you come back. That could be tough on fans to get them excited and get there. And just the way the schedule falls this year is interesting too. I don't think they have back-to-back home games the rest of the way out. So, that'll be interesting. But you sure hope for their sake that a lot of folks choose to come out and support the Missouri Tigers there in the stands. We'll have you covered on Missouri football and the rest of the SEC all season long, all year long here on Southeastern 16, whether it's football, basketball, or baseball. We bring out daily content for each of those sports, keep you informed year-round on the SEC. Subscribe to our channel, like this video. If you'd be interested in sponsoring our content, Caroline.Smith@southeastern14.com. Shoot her an email, and we can start those conversations. But we've got you covered on SEC football. That's 3 biggest questions for the Missouri Tigers in their week 1 game against Murray State. We'll have you covered on all the games all year long as we'll predict and preview them every week. For Chris Lee, I'm Chase Robinson. This is Southeastern 16, presented by BetOnline.